the grandson of Right Thought. Welcome to the School of Marvelous Light, where we who have been called out of the darkness, the peculiar elect, assemble to learn about the hidden things of life. And anybody who wants to come and learn, they can come and learn. And we know that many won't. And today we're going to discuss why that is. Even amongst those who say they believe, why they won't come here, where we come and sup. When you grow up in this world, you have a father. You have a good father. The good father, we'll call him. The good father, when you have one, you live in two worlds. You live in the world of your good father and the world where you go to school, where you play, where there's peer pressure, where your friends are, your acquaintances are, where you work and your coworkers are. That life. And y'all know what I'm talking about. It's two lives. When you're young, you think that your father is harsh on you. And so because of that, you pull away from the word that he has for you. You recoil at it out of fear of a misunderstanding. It's nothing else. It's just that you have a misunderstanding of your father. Your father loves you, but you don't understand it. Because there are two worlds at work. And that world that we grew up in, we had TV and internet came around. So it started to be more accessible, that world. Not the world of your father, but that other world. And see, the good father would tell you good things. And he would teach you the things to stay away from. Don't steal, don't kill, things like that. And his reaction when you would make a mistake and go astray and break his commandments, his reaction, you wouldn't understand the depth of it, why the harshness of it. If you got disciplined, you may have cried in your room and thought all kind of misunderstandings about your good father that love you. See, because though it's written that he who loves his child will chasten him often, and the son in whom he delights, he will chasten often. And when you hear that, it's a paradigm shift because that doesn't seem the way that it is. And so it is here with us. It's two worlds. You see? And when he said, "Come out of her, my people," he's asking you to return back to the good father. Is he not? Isn't that what he came to do for us? To return us to the Father? To reveal the Father to us? That the Father is loving you. Now, who taught us that? Yahusha taught us that, you see? And that's what we do here, over here in the light, us elect. We let our candles burn with love, fervent love, one to another, for ourselves, for our fellow man. And those instructions that taught us how to love was a fire of affliction, or as we would say in this world, discipline from our Father who loved us. When we became a man, we understood the discipline that he gave us when we were 5 and 6, and 10 and 11 and 13, 17, 18. We understand it now. Why he would say no when he said no. Why he would give us that look when he gave us that look of disappointment. But always receiving us back into his loving embrace. And it is not until we grow up into the measure of a man we say, wow, I understand now. I understand now. To make a man that is a man of value, then he must have had to go through affliction. Why? Because that is what makes a acceptable man according to Abba's word. Acceptable men are made in the furnace of affliction. A man that has not suffered affliction is not a man, because he cannot call himself that until he has gone through affliction. Well, when you learn from the good father how to suffer under a rod and how to say those words like David said, who was called a son, see how to say those words, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. So that rod of correction comforts me. It reminds me that you love me. Not that you hate me, but that you love me. Strange dynamic. Why? Because we are not of this world. We are peculiar. See, we are strange. And those values that we were taught, that we were built with, it's not of this world. Remember, I told you the two worlds. The world that your father was preparing you for. How to deal with it, how to recognize it. Not to go in it and be a part of it. That's not what he was preparing you for. He was preparing you to fight it. And to fight it until the end. You hear me today? It's not to go in it and be a part of that world. That's why your father was correcting you. If it was about being a part of this world, then he would not have corrected you. He would have applauded you when you stole and got gain. You hear me? He would have applauded you when you killed to rise in this world. He would have applauded that. But when he looked at you with disappointment, when you took something that didn't belong to you and you sullied his name, and he looked at you and in your eyes and you knew it, then that chiseled you and it taught you it's not well to do that. It is not what I am. It is not what I am. The seed has to accept who he is and where he's been cast. And then some seed has fallen on good ground. And it's okay for that good ground to accept it if he be so. For it's already written that there are some. And it bears fruit. It bears fruit. And what are these fruits? Self-control, patience, long-suffering, tender mercy, kindness. How to weather a storm. How to be a rock. Or what we would call in this world, a man. What did Abba create when he made man? What was the purpose of it? To be equal with himself. He said so, though he thought it not robbery. To be equal with God, he took on the form of a servant, lowly, not puffed up, not like this world. When they sought to make him a king, he departed and went off into a mountain to pray and fast. When they said, man, what is your name that we may tell everybody? He said, don't tell nobody what you saw. Don't tell nobody. Not seeking the spotlight, but the spotlight ever being on him for his strangeness, his walk, his power, his might, his compassion, his thoughtfulness, grace, not arrogance, not full of conceit, with no deceit on his tongue, but pure and honest before men and just. And if you are going to walk in those shoes, my brother, then you have to understand that this world ain't like that. They don't uphold those things. And so that rod of correction was to make you strong so that you could bear it when this world strikes you. When they try to beat you down with their rod, saying that you're wrong for upholding the ways of your father, your good father. Because they indeed tell you that you're wrong without using words. They tell you about how they treat you, how they look at you when you stand up for righteousness' sake. While all saying that they're all righteous, no one stands up for righteousness in that world. But in the world of your good father, where righteousness prevails, does it not? Honesty prevails. And it does no good for you to be in the presence of your good father and uphold his principles in his face, but then go back to the world seeking to gain anything from it. He says, be ye separate. Touch not the unclean thing. Is that what he says, Israel? Or is that what he says? Touch not their ways. Choose none of the heathen's ways. It's all about being separate. And yet in this world, they say, oh, let's all come together and be one. There are two worlds, Israel. Let their world be one, and let our world be one. Let thine eye be single. Where do you rest it? In that world, or in the world of your good father? Who, when you became a man and you put childish things away, you said, I understand. I understand, Abba. I understand, Pop. I get it. I get it. You didn't lie to me. You were honest with me and you kept it real. And because of that, you gain a reverence for your good father. And that's what it's all about. When you see that it was you loving me, keeping me away from things that harm me. See, because when we do those things, when we break those commands, Israel, we're not harming somebody else. You're harming your own life. You can't steal without stealing from yourself. You can't kill without killing yourself. And once you understand that, then you compare that knowledge you just gained with his words that say, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And then it makes perfect sense to you. It makes perfect sense to you. So then you say, okay, well then if I lie today to anybody about anything, I'm telling them that I want them to lie to me. That's all you doing when you lie. But you think you tricking somebody and getting off. No, you're not. Somebody is tricking you and getting off. That's what's automatically happening. So those people that say they keep his commands don't understand that that's what it is. They think it's about the day that they keep Shabbat and in the new moons and the feast days and the high holy days. And they think it's about rudimentary laws of Moses. They do. They still believe that, not understanding that it's about the simple thing of, you don't understand that it's the loving the person right next to you? That if I did that today, could Abba be angry with me? And I have just simplified my mind and made it single. I don't have any other things going on. It's just love. If I don't love, I fail. If I love, I've won. So then there's only one single thing that I must do in every circumstance, because every circumstance is about love or fear. Every one of them is. Every decision is only a decision because there's love and fear. Do you hear me today or not? You can't have a decision without two opposing forces, or two choices, in other words. You have to have a crossroads. Well, cross is, if they were on top of each other, you couldn't see those two lines. But when you put them into a shape of a cross, then you can see the two lines very clearly, and you can make a very clear choice. So our Father was leading us into how to make the right choice in every circumstance, which is love. I am love. So then if I am love, then what do you think I do? You say, well, Abba, then you do the loving thing. You do the loving thing. It's that simple. Now I really know you. I thought it was some other stuff. I thought if I did this, I would get killed. And if I did that, this would be happening to me and bad stuff and this and doom and gloom. And wait a minute. You're just loving me. You're telling me how to stay safe. How is that bad or fearful? If you were in the world, if you didn't know anything about God or people's religions or nothing, you were just a blank slate and you were in the world and you found a source, doesn't matter what it was to you, you found it. And out of that source flowed truth. When you consulted the source, the truth came out of it, like the rock with the water. So you started to test this thing to see if it was indeed true. And you started to find out 100% everything that the source was saying was 100% truth. Do you think that source is deceiving you and hating you, or is evil? I don't think you would think that. I think you would think that was the most best thing you could, a pearl of great, the best I've ever found, right? Because it's never leading you astray. What's Abba? His word. And if you all knew that, you would consult his word in every decision that you made. Believing. That's how you prove that Abba love you. That you know he do. That's how you prove it. You prove it, your faith, by your works. Which is when people say, hey man, that don't seem right that you living like that. Why you living like that? That look crazy. And you say, because I believe Abba's word. That he say, take no thought of those things. So I don't take thought of it. What you would, that don't seem right. It's called faith, man. I know it don't seem right. I'm proving my faith by my lifestyle, how I live. That I don't take thought, see? And then they start seeing you that you don't take thought and they know you're not lying. And they say, well, why you do that? You say, because he told me that. Right here in this word. And then every day you're fed and they can't deny that. And you're clothed and you're taken care of. And then they have to say, well, what else did he say? And that gives you time to give testimony. He say this here. He say this and this. Why? Why am I saying this to you guys all the time about the word? Because man shall not live by bread alone. Y'all hear me, family? Y'all hear me? Man don't live by bread alone. So everybody that's living on the earth right now, they're eating in order to live, correct? Yes, they are. Well, that's not the only thing that keeps a man alive. So I don't think about the bread, 3D bread. See, I don't think about that because he told me not to. I focus on the manna from heaven. That gets me through each day. Each sin, his word leads me through it. I consult his word, it gets me through it. I know that other worldly people think that's strange. Well, they're not of this world we're part of. We could accept now. We're of two separate worlds. It's okay. One world will be done away with. That's called the world of Esau. The world of Jacob is it that followeth. It is already written. You see? So we just await the revelation of our world. The new city of peace. All right? Last night. Silawam Israel.